Hi there, Loy Machedo, speaking to you from loymachedo.com. Who is Loy Machedo? Think Personal Branding. So, a little bit of surprise updates here. Um, it obviously shows that UAE is trying to do whatever it can to attract talent into UAE, changing the visas, making so many visas that people have themselves got confused. They don't know. Green visa is there, then gold visa, then silver visa, investor visa, business visa. Then now even tourist visas have changed. 5-year visa. Then you also have what talent visa, a freelancer visa, and all that. And when people are actually applying for these visas, then they are given some other B clause, C clause, and this has to be done. And so there's plenty of confusion. And if that was not enough, now you have UAE employment law is changing. Okay, this is 7th October 2022, Arabian Business. Now, mind you, take Arabian Business with a grain of salt, because whatever they do share, sometimes it's more like a proposal rather than an actual implementation. And sometimes these wordings that they use, you do not know whether it is official rule that is implemented and where and how far it is implemented. So I'll read the article and I'll give you my thoughts. And if you know anything better, feel free to tell me. Okay, because whenever I give my opinion, I check with the business people and I ask them what is happening. Okay, so here what it says is UAE employment law 3-year limit on private sector contract scrapped. Now, obviously, when people read this, yay, wow, they are so happy that, if I sign up with company A or B or C, I don't have to work with them for 3 years. I can work with them, let's say, for 1 year or maybe 6 months. Okay, but I'll tell you how these employers will work through this, through the loopholes, because everything has loopholes, and especially in the Middle East, loopholes are like crazy. Okay, like I told you, they keep changing the laws like they change their underwear. Okay, so here it says a new amendment insists contracts must be offered for a fixed term but without a previous cap. Okay. The UAE has lifted a 3-year limit on the duration of a fixed term employment contracts with the private sector. Okay. The Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratisation, which is an utter failure, Emiratisation, announced amendments to the UAE employment law and the decree law on the regulations of employment relationships. Okay, still too many big bombastic sounding words. So what is the change? UAE employment law update. The update law states that fixed term contracts in the private sector must still have a defined duration. So yeah, it is, if not 3 years, it'll be 2 years, it'll be 1 year, it'll be whatever. But the UAE law will no longer insist on a time limit of how long that can be. So what they're trying to say is, we will not implement it. You decide between you and that person who is joining how long the contract should be. The MoHRE said contracts can be renewed as long as both parties agree to the conditions. Now, here, let me tell you one thing. Employees will feel, yay, yippee, I can decide, if I want to work 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year. Well, here's the problem. No matter how smart you are as an employee, always remember the employer is smarter. Okay? There is no employee in this world who can be smarter than the employer. Why? Simply because the employer is not only dealing with work, he's dealing with business, he's dealing with expense, he's dealing with so many things. And if you are smarter, you would be running your own business. So obviously the employer is smarter than the employee. That is number one. Number two is, the employer can afford to not only appoint a lawyer, he can appoint a legal team. Okay, he can pay them a retainer. He can ensure that the contracts that are drawn are so intertwined and have so many clauses that you might take a lifetime to actually decipher what the employer wants to do. And always keep this in mind. Just as these property houses and apartments which they give freehold and buy and enjoy and all that bull that they give you, they have a provision where they can include extra clauses. All right. So no matter how smart you are, always remember the employer is smarter. Now, Having said that, both parties can agree. Uh, this is also there that the employer will make sure that his interests are protected. All right. So you both can agree on a lot of things, but when they are actually signing the papers or when they're giving you the contract to sign, I can assure you that the employer will make sure that his interest is protected. The new rules aim to offer protection to employees and their employers in a balanced way, which will also advance the labor market's growth and sustainability while enhancing the economic competitiveness of the UAE. In other words, what they're trying to say is, we don't want to be looked upon as, keeping you as slaves. This is an open market. But I beg to differ here. The reason being is, it's not an open market. Once you sign the dotted line, you are committed to that company, that contract. Let's say, for example, you were to work in your own country. You're a citizen of your own country. You don't want to work, you resign, 1 month's notice, bye bye. In the Middle East, you can't give 1 month's notice and bye bye. Even if there is a 1 month's notice period, I can assure you this much. Once you join the company, unless it's a multinational company, multinational, okay, they don't give a damn. But if it is a privately owned company, and let's say you signed up for 1 year, and after 3 months you don't like it, oh, I have decided I want to leave. It's not going to be that easy. Take it from me, it's not going to be that easy, because keep this much in mind: the employer, the businessman, is spending money for your visa, for your ticket, for all the legal expenses to get you there, and then offers you training for 2 3 months. And if employees, don't think employees are saints. They'll be there 2 3 months getting trained, and at the same time, there are some people who will actually look out for better jobs. And when they get a better job, while on the expense of the company, they'll say, "Oh, sir, things are not working out. My mother is sick. My father is sick. Oh, I am not keeping well, sir. Things are not working out for me. I want to go. I'll give 1 month's notice." No, the employer is going to tell you, "Really? You want to give me 1 month's notice? Okay, you got to reimburse me A, B, C, D, all these things. Only then I'll let you go." Dr. Abdul Rahman Al Awar, Minister of Human Resource and Emiratisation, said the UAE government continues to develop regulations and laws that align with the next 50 years of UAE's development demand. Yeah. 50 years. You don't know what is going to happen next month, and you're planning for 50 years. It sounds all good, 50 years, 100-year plan. If you go back a couple of years, 5 years ago, I think so, UAE had the plan for the next 100 years. It came in the newspapers and all that. 100-year plan and vision and all that. Anyone remembers what they said? Nobody remembers, because they outlined the plan for the next 100 years. You can say 10,000 years. Who the hell remembers, man? Okay, 50 years, whatever. You can just make it high five. 50 years, the gist of the entire plan is, we want to make the economy robust. We want to make the economy grow. We need more money. That's the plan. Okay. This 50 years is all high five. Nonsense. Just ignore it. The laws and regulations support our business environment stability and improve its resilience and attractiveness. All bombastic words means nothing. The regulations follow UAE's advancement development model and its fundamentals and principles that are built on justice, respecting human rights, and staying ahead of the changes. Ha 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 ha. All bombastic words means nothing. Just try reading all this to a guy who you have to get your visa thing done. He'll be like, "Baba, shoo, I don't know anything." Okay, you want visa? We stamp. Khalas. UAE employment law ruling announced last year initiated that work contracts could no longer last longer than 3 years. I think that has been from before. There's no contract that lasts more than 3 years. It's always 3 years. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Both parties and employment contracts will be given stability. There's no stability in UAE. If you, or Middle East, if you're useless, here's a simple question. You joined a company. Okay, you're supposed to perform. You don't perform. You don't achieve the targets. What stability? Okay, you joined a company. Employer doesn't treat you well. You don't like the employer. Things are not working well. What stability? Okay, third example. Employer employs you, and now his business is going down the drain. He is incurring losses. He's not able to pay your salary on time. What stability? What, Baba, stability? What nonsense. While these rules are introduced, the governing for the private sector, they will cover employees in the free zone within UAE. Free zones, they occupy a certain degree of flexibility and empowerment both to the employees and the employers. But outside free zones, no. And it's not that easy to open up a company in free zone. You need to cough up a lot of money. The rules don't apply to public sector companies, employees. Oh, well, of course, because the government is the boss, they can change the rules anytime. The changes come to the UAE employment law. In the same week, the UAE strengthened legal obligations to domestic workers in the country. I don't know what domestic obligations there is. So on Wednesday, October 5th, WAM, that is Wakalat Anbal Imarat, or Emirates News Agency, reported the decree federal law number 9 for 2022 was issued to strengthen domestic labor rights. The decree law covers working hours, weekly breaks, and leave for domestic workers and affirms the rights to domestic workers to paid day off per week according to the law's executive regulations. What bullshit. Total utter bullshit. Okay. What weekly breaks? What weekly breaks? Look, I have enough and more friends and people who are not only running their business, who are also working there. There's no such weekly breaks. There's no weekly breaks is the normal break, which anyway they have to get. But if there is work, they have to come to the office. Okay. And this number of hours, there is no such thing as number of hours. They'll say 8 hours, but people are actually working maybe 10 hours or 12 hours. You can ask anybody, don't take my word, go ask anybody who's working in UAE. Hey, you work only 8 hours and you go home, you work only 5 days a week. They'll say, what are you smoking? Unless you're working for some company where, like, let's say, it's a multinational company, which is, once again, there also you have to work your ass off. The only people who are working fixed number of hours are Emiratis who are working for well-paid, well-oiled government sector at a senior position. Even the junior Emiratis nowadays have to work hard. Okay, this bullshit about fixed number of hours and fixed number of days and weekly breaks and number of this is all nonsense, utter nonsense. My dear, if you work a fixed number of hours and you don't achieve your target, you'll be thrown out. They'll say, yeah, you worked a fixed number of hours, didn't achieve your target, thank you very much. Okay. Under this law, the executive resolutions issued by the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratisation are responsible for organizing working hours and leave. The law also stipulates that daily breaks cannot be less than 12 hours, including 8 working hours. Nonsense. Anyway, don't take my word. Ask anybody. Okay. Ask the normal people. Regarding annual leaves, the decree law stipulates the rights of domestic workers to be paid annual leave of no less than 30 days. Yeah, that annual leave is there. Okay. And some companies, they even allow you to encash the annual leave. If the service period is less than a year and more than 6 months, they are entitled for 2 days leave per month, every month. And the employer can specify the start date of the annual leave. Yeah. They give you the annual leave. Most of the Indians work for 3 years and or 2 years, and they take 2 months or 3 months. Normally, you get 1 month per year. That's as far as I know. The decree law stipulates that if a domestic worker wishes to travel to their home countries on annual leave, employer must cover the cost of the return ticket once every 2 years. This is there. It's given fair and square. Okay. However, if the two parties agree to terminate and not renew the employment contract after the annual leave, the employer will only cover the cost of one-way ticket. This is also there, but it is here once again it is manipulated and played around because the employer wants to ensure that the losses are kept at the minimum. See, overall, what I feel this article is, it is a positive kind of step towards making things better for people to come to UAE. However, the implementation of this rule is a very big question, simply because the people who are there, the people who are running a business, they are trying to cut down their overheads. They are trying to earn money. They are trying to make businesses successful. On the other hand, you have employees who don't give a damn whether the business does well or not. They just want their salary. They want to enjoy their lives. They want to take care of their families. They have their own shit to worry about. Okay. So when you have two parties with two different sets of goals, the only matching thing is you do, the employer wants you do the work, employee wants you give me the salary. So that is the only matching bit. Okay. So when that is not there, okay, let's say he doesn't pay the salary on time, or he gives lesser the salary, or he's not happy with this guy's performance, or this guy doesn't like the management, then the relationship, no matter what law you can bring out, you can't rule. Like they say, no, there is no law on this planet that can force you to love someone or to make something work. You can't. It has to come from within. So the employer employee, these rules are all nice, handy dandy and nice, but the employer and employee, based on their relationship, it'll work. So I don't know. This is what I can tell you, being having lived in UAE 40 years. Old habits die hard. Yes, this is all innovative, this is all new, but at the end of the day, you can't change everyone. At least this generation for the next 50 years is not going to change. Maybe next 50, maybe they will change. Anyway, good, bad, ugly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know what you have to say. You guys take care.